welcome to the It's My Time show. I'm your host, David Andron, along with co-host James Gamble of the Global Scouting Bureau. Today we have a special segment for you with college baseball players Tremaine Spears and Todd Lott. Welcome aboard, guys.
Thank you for having me.
No, thanks for coming on. I want to jump in and just make sure, Todd's with the Cardinals now. Don't hold it against him. It's a really good development system, and I know we're going to jump into that here in a little bit, but thank you guys for jumping on. David, you can start off if you want to, and then I'll ask some questions. I know both of the guys really well, and both are really good players as well as good people. So glad to have them on.
I know Tremaine well. I've been watching him, scouting him the last few years. Watched him when he was in high school. Watched him at UL, now at Southern. Just a great player. He also works with us with My Time Sports and Mental Master Training. Read my book, The Mental Training Guide for Elite Athletes. So he's one of my favorite players to watch at the college level. So it's exciting to have him on the show with us today. Tremaine, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, man, and how things are going for you so far?
Everything's going pretty well with me right now. Originally from New Orleans, moved up to Tioga after Hurricane Katrina, and that's where I really just started playing baseball and fell in love with the game. So I went to UL, graduated from UL, and along with Coach Rowe passing is the following year after that is when I transferred to Southern, and here and happy to be a Jaguar.
Awesome. You had a little injury with your foot in the fall, man. How are you doing now?
I'm doing well. I had just a bone spur removed and some floating bones in my ankle. Had to recover from that, but that was pretty easy for me, I believe. So I'm having fun now.
Awesome. Good to see you healthy.
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. I went to UL with Tremaine. Me and Tremaine was roommates for 2 years, so that's how we know each other. And I ended up getting drafted by the Cardinals in 2019. So now I'm just in that phase where I'm trying to keep grinding and end up getting called up soon.
Awesome.
And I'll add a little bit. He used to hit a lot of home runs out of the ballpark we had. And one day when he's in the big league, he's going to send a big old case to replace all those baseballs that we could not go and get because he hit them so far. And it does look like you're starting to move in the right track. I mean, you had a pretty good season last year, I would say. I mean, I think you hit 13 home runs, and it's a tough game now because it's very competitive, and you're in a very competitive farm system. I mean, it's one of the best development systems that are out there. If you would, tell a little bit about, from high school to college, some of the things that you've went through and how you prepare yourself, how your routines maybe have changed, how because a lot of people think it comes easy, but you had to work hard and continue to benefit your game, and you're still doing that now. You're constantly working to get better, to climb that ladder, and I don't think it ever stops. So maybe Todd, you can start off, and Tremaine, you've been through things as well, and you can talk about it. Really, that's what we want to do, is to let everybody know that they look at you guys now and they see success, but even successful athletes, they have a routine. They're trying to get better. You don't just go out and play. You're trying to better yourself each and every day. So,
in high school, I played basketball and baseball. So growing up, I always played a couple of sports. I played 3 sports growing up, and I had to just realize that one of those sports wasn't going to take me to the next level, and I had to focus on baseball. And going into pro ball, I had to learn how to get my body right every day, because you can't just go into the games. Because we play 150 games now, so you just got to learn how to get your body right every day. And because, like you said, it's a hard game. You see 95 every day, so you got to get your head right and your body right every day.
Well, let me ask, did you ever have ups and downs going through college, or was it just easy? You walked in, I know the answers, but you walked in and they said, hey, here's your position, you're the dude? Or did you ever have to mentally prepare and work hard and get opportunities, take advantage of the opportunities, go to the Cape and have a great year? Or, it's not just the physical, but also the mental ups and downs, and, not the negative, but everybody goes through ups and downs. Did you experience some of that? coming in as a freshman, being young, and having to acclimate?
Nah, yeah, it was hard for sure. I had my freshman year, I came in. I had a pretty good freshman year. Went to Alaska my freshman summer, had a good summer, and then came back my sophomore year. And like Tremaine was there, we went through it together. And that year was probably the most depressing year of my life because I didn't play that much. There was a lot of stuff going on, like why aren't we both playing? Like it's different guys playing, and we had to get through that. And then I ended up going to the Cape, and I don't know if you knew about this, James, but I almost didn't make that Cape team because I didn't play my sophomore year.
Sure.
So I ended up going to the Cape, made the All-Star team in the Cape, and then came back my junior year, had a good year.
Right. So, for a lot of guys that are going to watch this, and especially young players, it wasn't paved in gold. It wasn't like you walked in and they said, hey, here's left field. You're going to play no matter what. You also went through ups and downs, and, you have to dig deep, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally to get through things. And you had friends on the team, guys that you talked to, and you kept getting up each and every day knowing that you had ability. I've seen the ability. Again, that's why I joke around with him. I've seen him hit balls that, they leave every ballpark in America. I mean, he's got a ton of potential. I still feel that you're in the right road and you're moving in the right direction. I think your better days are still in front of you. But it doesn't mean for a lot of young athletes, as talented as Todd is, nothing was given to him. It was hard work. It was get up. A lot of guys give up. He didn't give up. He kept getting up over and over again. And there are some bad days in the game. There are days when you go 0 for 3. There are days when you worry about, why am I sitting? But you don't get to write the lineup. So you have to personally dig deep, keep working, have faith. You did. And look, positive things are happening for you. So, I've always liked you as a player. And I think good things are going to happen in your future. And for Tremaine, I used to talk to him on the phone all the time. He's had more than just a foot injury. He's taken one off the face at, I don't know, what was the velocity, Tremaine? You'd know more about that. It's been ups and downs, and you got to keep getting up in this game because the game doesn't quit for you. It's going to keep playing. So you either have to keep getting up and keep grinding and working and learning your routine because somebody else out there is trying to take your job. So Tremaine, talk a little bit about what you went through as well. Just because, again, people see you playing and they assume it's always easy, and it's not easy.
So my freshman year when I came in, my freshman year was rough just because my mom went in the hospital that year. She was dealing with pneumonia and kind of like a semi-stroke. And that was just a tough year for me. I knew my freshman year, it wasn't going to be much time for me because we had a pretty stacked outfield. We had Steven Sinsley out there, Alex Pinheiro, Joe Robin, Ishmael Edwards, and then we had Todd coming in too. And after Todd came off of his injury, Todd went off. So I knew what was going to happen. But going into sophomore year, it's like Todd said, it was very hard for both of us because it was in an aspect of what could we do? It was us questioning what are we not doing? Because telling us work while you wait, we're working hard. That's why I like Justin Robichaux so much. Get up at 6 a.m. and come hit me ground balls on our off days. And then along with that sophomore year, when I did get in, I got hurt. I got hit in the face with 93. Coming into that following year, my scholarship was pulled and was given away. So that was a hard process for me in a way I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know if I was going to stay or if I was going to go. But I ended up staying, and I ended up working that entire summer while I was recovering from my facial injury to be able to pay for school the next year. So I did that because I didn't want my parents to have to pay for me to be there. So after the junior year, that's when Coach Wells came in, and I think he helped me and Todd more than anything figure out who we were as people and as players. So after he came in and they gave Todd some trust. Todd started playing the field. That opened up the DH role, and that's where I was able to step in. So from there, is where I really took off in my career and just waiting and trying to go.
Well, look, opening day in college baseball is this Friday. And even in pro ball as well. I used to always tell guys, you know, and some of it's up to luck, I guess, but if you get off to a good start, you're going to have a lot of fun, right? The toughest thing is things that are out of your control, and it happens as a hitter all the time. If you go 0 for 10, man, at times they roll somebody else in, and then you're on the bench, you're waiting for an opportunity. I remember an at bat where they gave you, hey, you haven't been playing, but here's a pinch hit against a closer, and you've been sitting on the bench for 4.5 hours. He's throwing 95. Hey, here's your token at bat. Good luck with that. Well, the road gets long. I mean, at times getting off to a good start just sets for a great season. And we can't always control that. So, you know, I always hope that I hope both of you guys get off to a good start. But at the end of the day, when I look at both of your backgrounds and I do your profiles, Tremaine, every time you get lots of at-bats, you hit. Todd, when you get consistent at-bats, you don't only hit, you hit for power. It's going to happen. And so many players are about to start their college seasons. And I'm not here to beat up on any coaches, but one of the things that I noticed that happens is that some players, they have a job, it's theirs. They can go 0 for 20 and they're back out there. So they relax, settle in, and they become who they are. Maybe you guys could shed a little advice on the guy that goes out there and he goes 0 for 3 in the first game. He starts putting a lot of pressure on himself because he knows what's going on. And mentally, they try to go 5 for 3 the next game. That's not possible. You know, and as a hitter, what can you do? Because you know what's going on. Inside of you, you know if they give somebody else an at-bat or they put somebody else in left field and you're sitting. And we've all heard the work while you wait, but how do you actually mentally prepare yourself and put that behind you? How do you flush it? How do you prepare yourself to say, okay, I'm going to take advantage of each and every at-bat, make the most of it, not let the outside world and what's going on affect me? I know that's tough, but do y'all have any advice for, you know, the younger college players? Because it's going to happen.
I think you said it, just worrying about each at-bat every time. Like, baseball is a game where you fail, so you got to know when you fail sometimes that you're going to get rewarded sometimes. So you just got to keep going every at-bat.
I believe that you got to remember who you are as a person, because I think with that going on, you can forget the reasons you're there, and then you're putting pressure on yourself instead of being who you are. So going in there and remembering who you are and the reason you're there is, I think, will help a lot of players more than anything.
Right. The hardest thing to do in baseball is to stop worrying about what everybody else thinks. You know, every player gets out there and they want to impress their coach, they want to impress their teammates, they want to try to prove to everybody they deserve to be out there. So when they get that pressure where they're 0 for 3 for a couple of games, you know, then that pressure builds up. And they still got to be able to block all that out and go in there and focus on that at bat. And, you know, James, you and I talked about the bird analogy before. You know, guy walks outside, sees a bird singing on a wire. You know, he hates the birds waking him up early in the morning. He's cursing the bird out. The bird don't care. The bird's still going to sing. Whereas the wife comes out and says, "Oh, the bird's so beautiful. It sings beautifully. You know, it makes my day when I hear it in the morning." The bird still don't care. He's going to get out there and sing. As a baseball player, that's the same mindset you have to have when you step into the box. You know, you don't care what your coaches think, don't care what your fans think, don't care what your teammates think. It's you in that next pitch. And, you know, when you can get yourself to mentally block that other stuff out, it slows the game down. But it's hard to do, and it's challenging because baseball is such a game of adversity, especially for young athletes. They do start pressuring themselves, and they try to go 5 for 3, like you said. And by doing that, the game just speeds up so fast. What's some tips that you guys use to try to slow the game down mentally?
Last year I actually got big into breathing. I think people don't take advantage of that, and I think it's just because a lot of people don't know. They tense up when you're in the box. You tense up. You forget to breathe, and if you just focus on breathing, I feel like you'll see the ball better. Your body moves better, and then it's a better result.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the biggest tips I give a lot of players. We have several different breathing techniques we use from the mental training side, and it slows your heart rate down. And you slow your heart rate down, it slows everything else down, and you can relax and actually slow the game down with that 90-mile-an-hour fastball might look 85. Before you breathe and before you relax, that 90-mile-an-hour fastball looks 102. So breathing is, I mean, it's probably one of the most important parts. That's a good point, Pat.
Yeah, no, that's what I was gonna say as well, is breathing, just because it just lets you slow down and be relaxed. The last thing you want to be in the box is stiff and robotic. You got to be fluid. That's what this game is built around, is just being smooth and being able to do things in a routine.
Right.
Well, that's why what both of you said I really like. A lot of it, in my opinion, is learning your routine, getting a PhD in yourself to learn what it takes for you each and every day to be your best. You know, whether it's on the physical side of stretching, everybody has different bodies. You know, Todd may need to stretch a little bit more than Tremaine. And, you know, like Todd, you were talking about breathing. You're going to find things in your routine that are working. And as a professional athlete, you're going to continue to tweak your routine for the rest of your career. Right. It's not going to go away. And the things that you can't control, I still remember 15, 20 years ago, Orlando Cabrera, he was in AAA, got to the big leagues back when they had the Expos. We got him into winter ball, and he was 2 for 21, and they cut him. And the team called me on the phone and said, you know, that, hey, we had helped him to get bad players. And I was thinking, Orlando Cabrera is going to be an all-star. This dude is a stud. How can you use 21 at-bats? Well, they wouldn't deal with me for about 5 years until he became an all-star. And, you know, sometimes the management, the coaches and things, they also have jobs. They're not thinking about every single individual player and how they're relaxing and how that they're performing. They're worried about today. You know, there's a saying in baseball, you know, it's not what you did yesterday. It's about what are you going to do for me today? This game continues to move on. So the mental preparation before the game and also the ability after a game, whether it's a good game or a bad game, learning how to get back to yourself to where you can prepare yourself for the next day. Because Todd, if you go out and hit 2 home runs, that's great, but you got to play another 141 games in that minor league season, you know, and it's really a marathon, you know, and Tremaine, I think you guys are playing 56. I remember you started off last year on fire in New Orleans, you know, with a couple of home runs. Then the home runs, they slowed down a little bit for you, but you know, part of it is learning how to manage your own mind, your own expectations, and, you know, avoiding the highs and lows, trying to be a consistent player each and every day.
Right. The main key is focusing on the next pitch. That's the most important pitch of the game. It doesn't matter if you 4 for 4 with 4 home runs the previous at bat. It doesn't matter if you're 0 for 4 with 4 Ks. Next pitch is the only one that matters. And to be able to focus on that and not get caught up in the celebration of the home runs and the pitfalls of the strikeouts, and just be able to slow the game down mentally for the next pitch is where you see baseball players succeed, because you're going to fail 70% of the time and still be successful in this game. And you know, being able to handle that and embrace that failure is the biggest key.
I think another thing that, because me and Todd hold each other accountable of it, is stop looking at your batting average. Me and him really during games try to chase quality at bats, and that's something that we focus on. Like if you can go 0 for 3, line out 3 times, doesn't help you, but you know that you won that day. So I think that's something that's important for younger guys to understand too.
Right. Yeah. Tell them all, you know, focus on the process, forget the outcomes. You know, the process is what's important.
Absolutely. Well, Tremaine, did you in the offseason, have you talked to Todd about your you know, your base stealing and getting picked off? Has he given you any advice on how not to get picked off at first? I'm just throwing out some, you know, Todd, you probably didn't see that one. I don't know if it was televised, but you know,
He actually was watching that game.
That's right. Well, see, Todd got how many bags did you steal last year? I think because 2 years ago in minor league ball, nobody got you. I think you stole 6, 7 bags and nobody threw you out.
Last year, I only stole like 8, but I only last half or the last month of the season.
Sure. Well, I don't think people really know how athletic you are. And, you know, we joked around before we were on air. You know, I've seen you field ground balls. You have good hands. You're versatile as an athlete. You know, your number one position is in the batter's box. But then again, you're not just a one type of player. You're very versatile. You're very athletic, well-rounded. That's why I wanted you to give Tremaine some tips on base running, because I still made fun of him last year. And he had a really good season, and I expect big things out of him this year as well. Todd, how are things affecting you guys with, reporting with Major League Baseball and the disputes in between? I know hopefully things get sorted out pretty quick, but how is that affecting you?
Minor leagues, it really hasn't affected at all. We report on March 5th, but it has affected some of my teammates with the Rule 5 draft because you can't have Rule 5 during the lockout. So they're still waiting on if they're going to get picked up by another team or not. So everybody.
And Tremaine, how are you guys ready at Southern? I think y'all open up Friday?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Ready to go.
Plan on having a good one. Good. You're healthy?
Yes, sir.
Todd, yourself, you're healthy?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good. Outstanding. Well, I expect for both of y'all to have really good seasons and good careers. I mean, I've been fortunate to get to know you. And if there's anything y'all want to add to the younger players, because what we really try to do is, everybody reads all the positives on social media and things like that, but there's so much that you guys have gone through and you've grown, but you may not have been prepared until you went through it. Everybody that I've ever met that's been successful has a story and they've been through something. Although the world has this assumption that, is an easy road, that Kobe Bryant was great at 5 years old. No, that guy worked his tail off his entire career. Everybody saw him once he was great, but like Todd, when you guys have a game, people show up to watch the 7:00 game. They don't know that you showed up at 1:00 or 1:30 for early work and treatment. And, it's a lot of work. So if there's any ending advice that y'all might have to give to kids about the process, and not every day is going to go their ways. Even the high school players, there's a lot they have to go through, and not enough people are talking to them about, you got to go through it. It's going to happen. It happened to me. It happened to you. There's always things you have to go through, but you got to keep getting up, learn yourself, control the things you can control. And maybe y'all have something you guys can add to them.
I'll just say it's a grind every day. So you gotta get used to that. You always gotta have a smile on your face. And even if you don't have a smile on your face, it has to be shown through your energy, through your body. Just keep going, have fun. Yeah, that's about it.
Awesome.
I'd just say make sure you're taking care of your body and get you somebody that's on the team or that's there that hold you accountable. Like me and Todd talk every day, every single day, ever since we've been freshmen throughout until now. Just like he holds me accountable with things, I hold him accountable. We talk about different things of the game, but we check up on each other as well, make sure we're both doing well as well.
Well, I think you just defined what an accountability partner is, and I think it's outstanding. And I hope young players start doing that, whether they're in high school, whether they're in college, have somebody that you can go to and hold them accountable. Because if they're a true friend to you, if they're a good person to you, they're not just going to always pat you on the back. They'll get on you when you're living wrong and pull you back into who you are. So maybe Dave, you got something to add?
I'm good. I'm glad to have these guys on. Can't wait to watch, Tremaine play in a couple of weeks. And Todd, I wish you the best of luck, man. Thanks for being on with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, one day, look, I'm not going to let you forget it, Todd. You hit so many baseballs out of the yard that we could not retrieve. When you're in the big leagues, I want that big old case sent to my house so we can have future kids hitting those balls out of the ballpark. So,
yeah.
All right, guys.
Man.
Good luck to both of y'all, and let us know if you need anything, and we'll have y'all on the show again in the near future. Best of luck, and thanks for joining us on My Time. We'll see y'all in the next episode.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.